tell you something I've noticed about the women in my life? We're really good at thinking. We've been doing it for decades, working through problems, weighing decisions, and figuring things out. But most of us, we tend to do it alone. Because the people in our lives are busy, or we don't want to be a burden, or we've just gotten used to carrying our thoughts by ourselves. So I want to show you something today that changed that for me. And I think it might change it for you too. Okay? Hi, I'm Chris, and this is Second Act with AI. So I've been using Claude, which is an AI tool made by a company called Anthropic, every single day for the past few years. And I want to be clear, I'm not here to tell you it's magic, because it's not. But I'm here to tell you about something it does that I didn't expect, and that I don't hear other people talking about. Now, most people think of AI like a search engine. You type in a question and you get an answer, and then you leave. And that's fine. That works. But that's not what Claude is best at. What Claude is actually best at, what it was kind of designed for, is thinking with you, not for you, with you, okay? And the thing that blew me away when I first figured this out is this. You don't have to have it figured out first. You don't have to know the right question. You don't even have to be clear. You don't have to have your thoughts in order. In fact, the messier your thoughts, the better Claude works, because that's what it's built for. The half-formed thing. The thing you can't quite articulate. The decision you've been wrestling with for the past 3 weeks. And here's a really cool thing, is that you just start talking and Claude meets you right where you are. And I want to show you exactly what that looks like with a real conversation that I actually had, okay? So let's go. And I was trying to figure out whether to say something to a friend about a pattern I'd noticed. She keeps canceling plans at the last minute, and it's happened 4 or 5 times, and I didn't know if I should bring it up, how to bring it up, or just let it go. And that's exactly what I typed. Just the messy, go in circles version of it. And now I want you to notice what I didn't do. I didn't ask a clean question this time. I didn't say, give me a script for confronting a friend. I just put the whole tangled, messy thought on the page in the prompt box. And here's what came back to me. And I want to read you a few lines because I really think the words matter. That going around in circles feeling makes total sense. You're holding 2 things at once, the real frustration and the doubt about whether the frustration is even valid. That's exhausting. Now, did you catch that? It didn't start with advice. It started by naming exactly what was happening. And then it said something that I really needed to hear. You're not overreacting. 4 or 5 last minute cancellations is a pattern, not a rough patch. Just that. You're not overreacting. How many times have we needed someone to say that and had nobody to say it? And then it got more specific. It said something like, whether it's worth bringing up is actually about you, not her. The question is whether this is starting to affect how you feel about the friendship, whether you're pulling back, feeling like you matter less than you thought. And then it asked me a question. The going in circles part usually means you already know you want to say something, but you're looking for permission or the right words. So, do you want to say something? Because if the answer is yes, we can figure out the how. It asked me a question, not give me an answer. Ask me a question, because it was helping me think, not thinking for me, but helping me think. Okay? That's important. So I answered, and I typed back, I think I do want to say something. I just don't want it to turn into a big thing. I want her to know that it matters to me, but I also don't want her to feel attacked. And now watch what happens because I gave it more. The response gets completely specific. It said, the thing that usually makes these conversations go sideways is leading with the behavior as the problem. You keep canceling puts her in a position where she has to defend herself or apologize. Neither of those gets you what you actually want. And then it gave me something I could actually use. Lead with the relationship, not the pattern. Something like, I really value our time together, and I've been missing you lately. Lands completely different than you've canceled on me 4 times. The goal is to give her a door to walk through, not a wall to push against. A door to walk through, not a wall to push against. And I sat with that for a minute, because that's exactly the kind of thing that a really wise friend would say. The kind of friend who doesn't just take your side, but helps you see it clearly. And again, my point is, that's not a search engine. That's a thinking partner. Let me show you the second part of this same conversation, because I brought Claude something else. Something I'd been going back and forth on for a while. Whether to visit my sister this fall. And if you've ever had a complicated family relationship, you know this kind of decision. It's not just logistics. It's finances, it's your energy, it's history, it's guilt, all of it tangled together. And you can't see it clearly because you're too inside of it. So here's what I've typed. I've been going back and forth on whether to visit my sister this fall. Part of me really wants to go, but it's expensive. And I'm not sure about my energy levels. And the last time I went, it was kind of hard emotionally. But then I feel guilty for even considering not going. I don't know what I actually want. And here's what Claude did with that. It didn't give me a pro and con list. It started to separate out what was actually going on underneath. That I don't know what I actually want feeling is real. And it usually means there are competing needs pulling in different directions, not that you're confused or indecisive. Not confused, not indecisive. Competing needs. And I needed someone to say that. And then it named it something that really, really stuck with me. It said, you want to go. You said that first and directly, and that matters. But want is doing a lot of work here. There's wanting to see your sister, wanting to be the kind of person who shows up, and wanting to avoid the guilt of not going. Those are three different things, and they don't all point the same direction. And then it asked the question that cut through everything. One question that sometimes cuts through all the noise. If guilt weren't in the picture at all, what would you want to do? If guilt weren't in the picture at all, what would you want to do? And I sat with that. And then I typed back, but I still feel like I should go. Like it would be selfish not to. And this is where Claude did something that I didn't expect. And it pushed back on me. And it did it gently. But it said, selfish usually means taking something at someone else's expense. But choosing not to travel when you're low on energy and money, and the last visit was hard, that's not taking anything from anyone. That's just not giving something you may not have right now. Now, I want you to read that again, because that sentence is doing something really important. It's not telling me what to do. It's helping me see the word I was using more clearly. And then it went even further. And it said there's a version of should that comes from your values, and that one's worth listening to. But there's another version that's just old programming. The kind that says your needs come last. That showing up physically is the only way to show you care. That saying no means you're a bad sister. And then it asks this, whose voice is a selfish one? Because sometimes when we dig into it, it belongs to someone from a long time ago, not to us now. Whose voice is a selfish one? And that question stopped me because it's right. And it's the kind of question that takes a really good friend or a really good therapist to ask. And Claude asked it. And then at the very end of that response, it said something that made me smile. What does Deb think? If you've talked to her about it. It remembered from our previous conversations that I had mentioned Deb earlier. My partner of 40 years, it brought her in because it had been paying attention. And that's so different from typing a question into Google. That's a real back and forth. That's thinking out loud with something that's actually paying attention. And here's what I want you to sit with for a second. So many of us at this stage of life have spent years being the one who listens, the one who holds space for other people, the one who figures things out quietly on our own so we don't burden anyone. And Claude doesn't fix that. It's not a replacement for the people in your life. But it is a place to put your thoughts. A place that's available at 11 p.m. when you can't sleep. A place that won't get tired of you, won't check its phone, won't need something back from you in return. And it's a place that meets your messy, half-formed, going in circles thought and says, that makes total sense. You're holding two things at once. That's exhausting. Let's look at it together. Now, I don't know about you, but I think there's something really beautiful about that. So I want to give you one more thing before we wrap up. If you want to try this today, and I hope you do, here's where I go. Claude.ai. That's CLAUDE.ai. And you can make a free account. 2 minutes to set it up. And then I want you to do something that might feel a little weird. I want you to type something you've been circling. Not a perfect question, not a Google search, just the thing that's been sitting in the back of your mind and it won't leave you alone. And it could be about a relationship. It can be about a decision. It can be about something you're trying to figure out or something you don't have the words for yet. And just start. You don't have to have it figured out. You just have to start. And the beautiful thing is that Claude will meet you right where you are. Now, if this resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Next week, I'm going to show you 5 things ChatGPT can do for your everyday life that most people never even think to try. And one more thing before I go. I built a free quiz that helps you figure out which AI tool is the right fit for you, whether that's Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, or something else. It takes 2 minutes, very short, very simple. And the link is right below. All right, my friends, take care. Bye-bye.